So you have your spellcaster. I've got here a skull lord. Okay, he's got many heads, and he's got his little skeletons here in front of him. But if you want to cast a spell, if I were going to do anything with him, I would start with my cantrips. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to look at something that feels appropriate for my spellcaster. And for me, a really good spell with a good range is Chill Touch. And it's very appropriate for this spellcaster because he's an undead spellcaster. So I'd pick that one. After that, depending on what they are, if they're more warlocky, then maybe I'd go with Eldritch Blast as another spell that I would select. And then after that, I'm probably not going to be looking quite so much at spells that do damage. I might want to have spells that can affect things. So something like Mage Hand is something your players are probably going to take. So I would actually give Mage Hand to your enemy spellcaster. Now the thing is, you don't need to set a hard limit on how many cantrips your spellcaster has, no matter what their level is. They do what you require them to do. Another really good spell you could give to them is either Prestidigitation or Minor Illusion. Okay, I wouldn't go with both. You could if you wanted to, but they are reasonable cantrips. Out of all the cantrips you could give your spellcasters, they give you the damage output and you can do some other stuff. Now, I've got a spellcaster here who is more sort of fiendish in nature. What would I want to select in this case? Well, if I'm dealing with first level spells, I would probably go with something like Hellish Rebuke, because it's a good spell for essentially countering some of the things that the players are doing, because it's a reaction. Okay, it's not something that I'm going to be using on my turn as the enemy spellcaster or NPC spellcaster. It's going to be done on somebody else's turn. Another really good one that I would say out of all of them is you always want to take Shield. It's a no-brainer. Take Shield. It gives you an extra +5 to your armor class. Your players are going to take it. Your enemy spellcasters should have it too. Now, does that take away the agency of the players? Does it make, does it ruin their fun? Does it slow down combat? Seriously, you got to make the process of running those spellcasters as a dungeon master fun for you, and not just a cakewalk. If you do not take Shield as a dungeon master for your spellcaster, your players definitely have it. You're never going to get anywhere, and your spellcaster will be shot to pieces in no time. Okay, it will be a dead duck. Magic Missile. Why Magic Missile? Because it always strikes its target. Do you know what I mean? If you can see the target, it hits the target. They have to burn up that precious spell slot, Shield, to actually stop it. Those are the sorts of spells I would normally go with. Another one that is probably sensible, not so much a combat one, but still, easy enough to actually operate with, is Detect Magic. Detect Magic's great because you can detect magic. The next one I would say is a no-brainer too, and I think this will probably be the end of my sort of major selections, but I'm going to say Mage Armor. Out of the way, skeleton. Mage Armor. Why Mage Armor? Because your armor class is now better than it was before, unless your spellcaster is wearing armor in the first place. And then I would say probably lastly, to reduce the complexity for you, and also to give you a way to an escape. You might need your spellcaster to escape, and you can do this because what you would do is you would cast Invisibility, and then you would move away. And the players do not get an attack of opportunity, because you do not get to make an attack of opportunity unless you can see the spellcaster. So you can see right now, based off this spellcaster, some of the basics that I'll probably almost always take is Invisibility, Mage Armor, Detect Magic if it made sense, Magic Missile, Shield, and then cantrips. I'm probably going to be going with one damage dealing cantrip, and it's probably going to be anywhere from Chill Touch to Eldritch Blast. And then Hellish Rebuke is more associated with this particular encounter rather than all encounters. And then either Mage Hand or Prestidigitation or both. That actually isn't that complicated to run. It looks like a lot of stuff. You look at those spell cards there and you're thinking, way too much, Fred. What are you doing? You mad bugger. You can handle that. Seriously, you can handle that. And if you can't, I'll teach you so you do know how to handle it. So that's what I would suggest in terms of spells for a spellcaster who's an NPC that you are running as a dungeon master.